Here we go. We're on. There he goes. Yep, we are. We are live. As a matter of fact, I'm curious. You guys might not have any audio. I might have to fix this real quick.
Quick draw, sorry.
No,
There we go.
I'm
I think
here.
I just fixed it. Because my bars, well, my bars for you guys were absolute zero, and it didn't hit me until just that second that I never set up the aux
Probably.
for desktop audio.
Yeah.
I set up everything else. First guy in the room, first comment of the day. Hello.
Yep.
You know what? Bill, I applaud you. I applaud you greatly.
Hey, I'm just trying to keep it real, man. That's like when I used to not plug in the cord.
No,
Right?
no. I'm not talking about the fuck up with the sound. I'm talking about title, description, the thumbnail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how you make a stream right there. That's how you get it ready.
Hey, dude, that's the way to do it, man.
I mean, to be fair, that's pretty much what all of my streams end up looking like. So, yeah.
All right, let's get this pop-out chat
Although,
thing.
to be
People
fair,
are already coming in
people
here
don't
and
watch
talking.
my
That's
streams,
good.
So.
I got the overlay seems to be working. It's the same overlay command that I use on mine, which means I got to pay a lot of attention over here. So I'll be working on things, but it's working. So I have the screen interactions and things like that running, and we've actually got a live chat that can talk with us and whatnot, and I can bring up very specific things. But we're set. What's this? Have you guys worked on the Premiere video thing yet?
Maybe.
I'm going to say no.
What is that? What do you mean? What's that?
So
We were going to throw everything away private and re-bring them back
the first Premiere is ready. We just have to know when we can actually do it.
We just have to be able to get the motherfuckers.
I mean, if I'm being fully honest, the correct answer is I probably won't be at any of the premieres because, third shift.
Right.
Which is fair. Shane will be at all of them because Shane has free time.
Bill, why does the Kingdom Come Superman logo not look like an S? Because it's awesome. I don't actually know what the artist had in mind when he did that, but I know what you're talking about. It doesn't look like an S. It's like it's a symbol, and you could interpret it as an S, but they took some hard liberties on the logo back then. And so, those are, for the most part, they're ready. I put my phone down again. I need the damn question things.
Ugh. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to pop everything into place. I'm still waking up.
Bam, okay.
I've been awake for 2 hours, and I'm still waking up. Actually, it's been 3.
So I guess this just became the Fandom Knight. This is kind of weird because we're all the way up in March, but technically this is the first podcast of the year?
Yes.
Yeah, because we came back with D&D, so...
Yeah, we came back with D&D, and then we couldn't get together, and now we're here. And yes. That's an interesting thing that you bring up, Jake.
And I painted this.
He says, "Oh man, Dragon Ball Z, rest in peace." Now, we know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But real question, and this digs into a lot of fandoms in general. Like, we're talking a lot of fandoms. This is not a small thing at all. When the creator, and a creator that has an overall influence across a specific media, dies, does the property go with him? Is Dragon Ball Z, regardless of what they do at this point, even if they continue to produce, dead?
It depends.
Yeah.
If the way I would look at it would be if Toriyama had like scripts and storylines plotted that he let people know, and he was
like a roadmap.
here's the plan.
Yeah.
And here's how we're going to get to the plan eventually. Kind of like Monty Ohm and Ruby.
Well, so he did lay out a type of plan.
He had a set after, I think, season 5 or 6. They were like, we really don't have much to go off of now, so that way.
Well, okay, so Toriyama did lay out a loose plan for Super. And if you read the manga and you watch the anime, because of the way that's interpreted, it's two different stories. When you, and I can explain this just very easily by going to, say, the Tournament of Power. In the Tournament of Power, Roshi even showcases the first steps of Ultra Instinct against Jiren. He fights and dodges and survives a confrontation with Jiren. In the anime, no. Because when you just lay out a floor plan, it's up to the interpreter to figure out where or how they want to get to said moment. So it will very much, like even with a floor plan, it won't be Toriyama's work. But then there's the argument that if Dragon Ball Super was only 60% Toriyama's work, they used his roadmap, basically. And he did somewhat oversee it, but he wasn't the primary main guy setting everything up, which is the reason that if you read the manga and you watch the show, they're different. There's a lot of parts that don't line up storyline-wise and have very different significant moments in the way that they interpret things because they were working on a roadmap. Did Super work? If you argue that Super worked, and they still have even a partial roadmap from him for the new material, then it's not dead, because it's already been proven that you can do it without him. But if you then encompass the idea that leaving his ideas behind and playing the GT game, did GT work? And some people are going to say it did. I'm not one of those people. But some people are going to say that it did.
I was going to say with GT, there were parts that did, but most of it, no. There was like 15%. All right, no, that's pretty all right. And the rest of it is, what did I just step in and why does it smell so bad?
So, I mean, Super Sentai and Kamen Rider 8's still on even after the OG creator is dead. But even with the OG creator, Kamen Rider and Super Sentai are a collaborative series effort. So, just like Star Trek, yes, Gene Roddenberry may have created the initial concept, but he's not actually responsible. I'm going to get fucking mauled. He's not actually responsible for the overall success of the original Star Trek or the Next Generation. He laid the ideas. Writers and collaborators and actors and directors, then storytellers, then took that concept and made it what it is today. So when you're talking about a series, there's so many hands in a series. It's not like a manga. A manga is
Everybody's got their hands in the pie.
A manga is written by one guy. One guy creates the characters, controls the story, runs the narrative, puts it where it needs to be, and the anime just kind of adapts it. And that's how a lot of animes work, and Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were no different. So now you're talking about taking something that used to have one hand and then a collaboration after the fact and putting everybody's hands in it and seeing what everybody else's interpretation of Dragon Ball Z then becomes because of that. It's not the same thing as Kamen Rider or Super Sentai. It's just not. Those were built as series first.
Right.
They still make SpongeBob, Batman, Superman. Those creators are all dead. And that's exactly what I mean. Now, that's another thing, too. In the comic book world, we see this all the time. Batman hasn't been written by its original creator in a couple days.
Yeah, just a while.
Few minutes.
Superman hasn't been written by the original creators in a couple of days. And yeah, you'll notice I said creator, not credit taker for Batman.
Yep.
Look it up. They fingered Bill Finger.
Yep.
The finger.
No. No, it's not the ring.
We have a question for Shane. Just
it's
came
not
up
the
in the
ring
chat.
or
It
the
says,
thumb.
Shane, I
This
have a
one?
question for you. So here goes.
Yeah, it's the one
Are
that
you
gotta
still
turn up.
Just
are you still despise Power Rangers Operation Overdrive, or have you changed your mind? Because I watched one of your live stream videos. I'm not sure which is.
I just switched my
No,
camera.
I know that. That's fine.
No.
But I think
Yeah, I'm a little confused as
sounds
well.
like
Shane
you
hasn't
didn't.
streamed in a while.
Sounds like you'd said something a while back about not liking Operation Overdrive, and he wants to know if you still feel that way. That's what I'm getting from that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I still don't like it. No, when you compare, when you,
I mean,
when you,
it's
when
been
you-
a minute.
when you compare it to some of the better series, like while Mighty Morphin was campy and at times badly acted, I felt like Operation Overdrive was all around bad acted throughout the entire series. Some of the characters are really hard to get to. I didn't really even have a favorite character. In all honesty, if you don't have no, I did have a favorite character. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It was Adam when he came back to take over the team when they lost their powers. Back when he was still Mighty Morphin Black.
I'm very interested.
Yeah, he was my favorite character in that series, and he was only in it for a few episodes.
I'm curious. I really am. I'm curious about this because, like, you talk about Operation Overdrive, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't help but feel like I watched Lightspeed Rescue.
Okay, listen, no, I'm gonna stop you right there, man.
I felt like that was the worst Rangers I've watched so far,
no
acting
See,
wise.
what truly gives Lightspeed Rescue its bad rep is it's the villain.
Is it?
She is regarded as
She's terrible. Yes,
she's
the
actually
worst.
regarded as the worst actor that they've
Yes.
ever had in Power Rangers.
But I don't know that the other actors exactly pulled hard weight either. I'm going to have to go back and look. I remember falling asleep in multiple episodes trying to watch that, to the point where I was afraid that at some point we might get to it on our show. Like the stupid episode where the old Kung Fu man like trains a monster in Kung Fu and like kicks him down a staircase. And, oh my God, it's so stupid. Yep. It's so stupid.
Listen.
Yeah.
Operation Overdrive has. You could sit there and say that Lightspeed Rescue bored you. Maybe those actors were boring. You know what? They weren't the best in my opinion, but they were better than. I've told you guys before, the earlier Rangers, from what we had in Mighty Morphin, into Zeo, into Turbo, into Space, then the Galaxy. I found those to be better acted than what we got during the. Oh God, did Disney have them, or was it Nickelodeon? Or did they both have them at one point?
There's a lot of selling going on, by the way, in that idea. Like, it's not that I disagree, but like, how am I going to put this? There were probably only 2 or 3 actors of those Rangers. Like, sure, they did fine for what it's worth, but like,
listen, I know that
it's always been that way. They don't hire actors. They hire people with like ability. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they can fight. We'll do fight scenes. They look good. They fit the mold. We'll play with it off of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've always I always thought that the later incarnation of Rangers, from like, in my opinion, I honestly think it started because when you look back, Time Force was well acted. There were times where it was bad, but that's Rangers. That's what it is. It's never going to be perfectly acted. It's not what it's meant to be.
You can like whatever show you like, Jake. Just know that show was. Look, I was watching them all in order. I got to Lightspeed Rescue, I stopped watching Power Rangers for literally like a year and a half. Like I took the DVDs, I put them on the shelf, and I was like, "Fuck this," and I was just done. Like it sucks so hard.
I get that because when I got out of Power Rangers was Lightspeed Rescue is when I fell out. But coming back to it and watching this stuff over again as I'm older and realizing now that it's the newer stuff, like Samurai, that, you know, yeah, there's some people in it that act fairly well. The guy that plays Bulk is in it, and that's pretty cool. You know, that dude was never a fucking, you know, award-winning actor. He was still good, in my opinion, especially for the material that they have.
Wait,
you know,
wasn't it the Red Samurai actor, or was it one of the other Red Rangers that threatened to kill a dude with a katana?
I don't think he threatened.
He did.
Oh, I didn't know he actually did.
Yeah, I believe he did.
I want to say that now I don't remember this 100%. This is a long time ago, but I thought for sure I'm pretty sure he got brought up on charges. He did. I thought he did kill a guy. Did he kill a guy, or was it attempted?
I believe he killed somebody. And he was the Red Wild Force. And then he was also the villain. He was a villain in Samurai.
Oh yeah, he did in fact kill his roommate.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I was right.
I just looked it up, and I was like, oh my.
There's quite a few
there went my coffee.
Dark secrets behind some of the Rangers, or the actors that played the Rangers.
Do you want to know who my favorite character was?
Who?
The channel change button.
I'm just saying that, like, when we got down to, I always talked about how bad Lightspeed Rescue was, and I stuck with that for a long time until I always said that, in my opinion, Turbo is the worst. If you're talking from what I was watching to when I fell out, Turbo is the worst in my opinion.
Turbo, you know. I used to think that. No, I really did. I used to think that until about 5 years ago, we were sitting around watching them again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching things and taking notes so that we could do the series reviews, which we never really finished, but regardless of the fact, what stopped me in my tracks, I got through Turbo with plenty to talk about. Like, and we had new topics every day watching that series. Like, we were talking about, like, how it wasn't really the Rangers series. It was an origin story for a bad guy. We were seeing almost a coming of age for a villain that we'd never seen before. And, like, all these different topics. We tore into that show. There was a lot to discuss. And then I got to Lightspeed Rescue, and I was like, fucking kill me. It's like, it did rub me the wrong way. I don't know when we go back to doing series reviews how I'm going to handle that. Hopefully, it was just a state of mind at the time. Hopefully, I was just burnt out. Like, because that happens too. And then you watch something when you're in the wrong state of mind or in the wrong part of your life or whatever, and it doesn't speak to you. So that could be what happened. But, like...
Well,
I mean, it was nauseatingly bad for me. I could not watch it.
I thought about this when I went back and I watched quite a few of the series all the way through. Not all of them, but I know what happened. So, I used to think Turbo was the worst, and like followed by like Lightspeed Rescue because that's the one that made me fall out of it. But then when I started going back and I started watching again, and I watched Time Force, and that one was awesome. You know, that's one of the best ones. Then you get to Ninja Storm. That's not too bad either. Wild Force. My bad. You go into Wild Force. Other than the controversy behind the Ranger, at the time he didn't kill anybody, so it was fine. And Wild Force was all right. Then you go into Ninja Storm, and that one wasn't too bad. Then in my opinion, another really good one was Dino Thunder. Once Mystic Force came around, is when I noticed that the acting started to get worse, and
I always feel like the acting is a roller coaster. Always.
It can be, because
for every great actor they seem to get, or competent actor,
Mm-hmm.
they've got to like hold the cast up for the other 4 people that are like
yes.
nauseatingly bad or just okay. They can do it. They know their lines, but they were hired because they kick good. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you can see it sometimes. And remember, we looked up the audition requirements that one time when they were casting. I think it was like 2 series ago. And basically, in the casting call, it said no acting talent required. Like, they just needed you to be able to like have some martial arts talents, and they'd fake it until you make it.
Or gymnastics, or anything that keeps you active or fit. They're not going to sit there and be like, "Hey, what are you? I'm a 35-year-old gamer that sits in my parents' basement. May I please be a Power Ranger?" I will not get picked.
And I've seen people that start at one place in Rangers where they're not good actors, and over the course of doing a series, you can watch them get better at what they're doing. They start to grasp their character, they start to understand how to emote a little better. It does happen. But that comes down to the way that they cast these people. They're not casting actors. They're usually casting people that can do the other part of the talent, and then they'll figure it out as they go. And that's very common. Now, they do get some actors here and there, but I also think that's, like I said, there's a lot of hands in this. So don't be surprised if that's on purpose, where they're like, we need a couple of guys that are going to really hold the spotlight for fighting. If we're going to actually do stories, we need a couple kids that can act. And then they go looking for that. You know what I mean? So I think that's all on purpose.
But like, when I sit there and I watched and I kept watching, and I found Ranger series past what I used to know, and I started watching the newer stuff, and I started finding like what I like to call diamond in the rough, where you have a lot of rough ones, but then you have that one season that's really fucking good. Well, in my opinion, to answer this dude's question, because everything I do always comes around full circle. Operation Overdrive I do hate. It's actually my least favorite Power Ranger season of all of them, and I know there's some bad ones, and other people are going to disagree with me and say, well, this one's worse and this one's worse. I don't care, because here's the issue. All those other Ranger series, I can tell you at least one person on the main team that's my favorite character. I can't do that with Operation Overdrive because I hate every character. So, with that being said, if I can't connect with the team in the least a bit, then it's, my opinion, a terrible fucking show. So that's the worst one. And I did answer your question, but I did go on a tangent because that's what I do.
So circling real quick here to talk about actors, because people get real defensive about this. Understand there are different levels of actors, okay? And one person, Jake, actually points it out. He says, Time Force Jin has done a lot of Hallmark. Let's ask a real question here. Would you consider Hallmark movies to be the pinnacle of acting?
Listen.
That depends.
The answer is just no.
The
answer is just no.
No, my mom's addicted to the Hallmark.
But that's not.
I've watched some of those.
Look,
acting
Shane, let me explain this to you. Hallmark movies are fantastic if you need a fucking movie where, like, a woman lives in, like, a big city and decides she needs to head back to her small town that she came from to find a man.
But acting is vast. That's what I'm trying to say. There are people that do nothing but independent films forever and never necessarily make it to what we consider acting pinnacles. Look, people look at acting as, if you made the movies and you became a star, you're an actor. And the truth of the matter is that acting is very different levels of that. There are some people that will never be in a big budget movie, but have immense talent. It's you walk all over the place and find people that are good in one thing and good in another thing. And that's what it is. Now, Rangers, and I'm just going to put this out there. I know this is your guys' fandom. I know you love Power Rangers. I get it. Power Rangers was never meant to be high-class material. Ever. It was not built that way. It will never be built that way. Not unless there's a huge redesign in how they do it.
Let's be real.
It's
Even
not.
in Japan,
It's not.
even in Japan, it's not meant to be a big freaking thing. It is, but it wasn't meant to be. And Sentai is much more mature. I mean, there's comedic stuff in it, but it's a lot more mature. From what I've seen so far, it's a lot more mature.
Look, Box says it right here. Not everything has amazing acting, but not everything needs it. That's Power Rangers almost in a nutshell. They didn't cast many of these people for their great dramatic abilities.
That's
not saying that some of them don't possess great dramatic abilities, but that's not what they were looking for when they casted these shows.
Listen, you can be a terrible actor. One of the worst actors ever. Make a movie and make a movie. And that movie be so bad that it's considered one of the worst movies of all time, but then it become like a cult classic for something that you must watch because it's so bad. And you guys know what I'm already talking about.
Yes.
Yes. So
we have all seen Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yes, we know.
Oh, no, I thought he was talking about Space Mutiny.
Well, yeah.
Now, don't you be talking bad about Space Mutiny over there. That is high-class acting if high-class acting ever existed. Those people went on to do fucking nothing.
Listen. I wasn't talking about either one of those movies. I was talking about the critically panned, highly entertaining Tommy Wiseau's star, The Room.
I mean, he made it.
Yeah.
Look, you could say what you want about him, but he made it. Even if he made it as a joke, he made it. He's got another Hollywood movie coming out, Big Shark. It's even going to be in some IMAX theaters. Like, that's real accomplishment from somebody that you laughed at so hard, but like, he made it. I didn't make it.
I laughed at him for all the right and wrong reasons.
Right.
I laughed at him because his movie was dreadful, one of the worst things I've ever seen. At the same time, it made me laugh more than any other movie. I've laughed less at comedies that are meant to be really funny than I did at that bad movie that wasn't, I don't think, supposed to be a comedy. I honestly think it was supposed to be serious considering how it ended. So, but, yeah. So
I don't know what is going on with the chat, but I'm not posting those on screen.
Yeah, we'll leave those be.
I have zero interest in whatever all that was. So, because we are all here and we were supposed to do the introduction episode, and that's what this is going to basically be. Oh, no.
I got this piece of paper. Hold on. Because it's been a minute since we've done this. Welcome to Fandom Night, the show that breaks dicks.
Ouch!
What? No!
I was listening to a bunch of the What's Up.
He's talking about Metal Gear Solid 5. That statue in Metal Gear Solid 5, you can walk up to it, and if you, because I can't believe they even put this in the game. If you try to look at the statue's wonger, he'll like look away and be like, no. And if you try to look at it a couple more times, he'll finally just reach out, grab it, break it off so you can't keep doing that, and then move on. Then move on with the game. Yes, that is, I know exactly what reference he was making.
To be honest with you, my favorite part about that whole scene is when you do break it off, Snake is so shocked. He's like, oh!
Yeah,
my favorite was fucking What's Up 4. It was like What's Up 3 or 4. Because the entire time we're just sitting around, and this is our disembodied voice. He's like, I'm not here. What are you doing over there, guy? Gonna break a dick.
Yeah.
Got to download a game. Go break a dick.
See, that's the thing. I don't remember that part of the game. I don't think I ever did that.
It's in the beginning. It's during the when you're in the Middle East.
I somehow missed that.
Yes, you actually go past the statue, I believe, or I don't think you actually have to, like, it's not part of the game. I think you do, like, where the statue's at, you can hide behind it and that's when you can like grab it and stuff. I know that it's in the first act, so if you do ever decide to go back, it's not that it won't take you long to get to it. But it is hilarious because his reaction is what made it funny. Because it's almost like he was like irritated that he broke it, or he was irritated that he broke it and he has now a dick in his hand, which he already had a dick in his hand. But now he took a
solid 5.
But then he took a detachable penis.
Snake breaks.
Detachable penis. That's a good song.
It is. It definitely is a good song. So this little comment right here, you get real passionate and do like hard fan stuff. Kojima was based, but Konami is crap and garbage for messing him over. Here's the thing. I'd be very interested to hear you argue with my buddy Greg. Because Greg will tell you the business aspects of why he was probably messed the way he was. And as you've, like, while he has done some amazing stuff, not everything he does is a home run by a long slide. And on top of that, we don't necessarily know, and I will not defend Konami on this 100%, but I don't know the business stuff that was going on. Like, say for instance, what if, and Konami doesn't know how to fucking do their games in the first place, which is why they went off to other territories. But think about if they give you a thing that you've got to follow, and then you like over budget them over and over and over again. Think about stuff that even like Enterprise. Enterprise is a series that I personally like, and it basically killed itself by constantly going over budget on episodes, by doing things that it wasn't actually like ready to do and things of that nature. And then in fact, it screwed itself so hard with its own budget that they basically pulled everything and said, no, you don't get no more. And they had to do like some weird cop-out episodes, which turned out to be really good episodes, like Shuttle Pod 1, where they literally film an entire episode in just the shuttle pod because they had no money left in the budget and they had to guarantee other episodes. So they started doing, I think they call it like bottle episodes or whatever, where it literally, you don't build anything new. You don't do anything new. You just take like one or two characters and you put them in like a singular set that like you already built. So you're not spending any money or any extra things. So you guarantee the budget and whatnot. And then that guarantees episodes down the line. And, like, nobody knows 100% what was really going on between him and them.
And you never will.
And you never will.
And that's the issue. Whatever really happened, you don't work there. You don't personally know Kojima. You don't, unless you honestly hear it from the horse's mouth, you're not really ever going to know. So we get mad. I got mad too when I found out about it too. I remember being very fan pissed. I don't think about the business side ever because I don't like business.
Right.
I never think about it. I know it sucks, and I hate how business. I know how business is run. I'm not ignorant. I just don't pay attention half the time. But when I do pay attention, it doesn't take me long to get caught up on what's going on because it's all the same bullshit.
Right.
Big shocker.
Kind of like the Warner Brothers bullshit where they literally made that like Wile E. Coyote movie. And then basically said, oh, well, this movie costs us like $100 million to make. We're going to just hit this delete button on this computer and then empty the recycling bin. And the government's just going to give us $2 billion. So fuck that movie.
Good.
Because that's business.
So
that would be amazing if this was true.
So, in my opinion,
Jake, if that's true, and that's why Konami, like, it's actually like in the background that Konami actually got rid of him because he kept eating people's lunches out of the fridge, and they were like, Kojima, man, you can't be doing that. And he's like, I do what I want to do. I made Metal Gear, and they were like, dude, that's not your lunch. And he's like, it is now. What are you gonna do about it? Not have Metal Gear? And they're like, damn it. It's been happening since Metal Gear 3. Finally, they were like, dude, you gotta go. You can't just be eating people's lunches.
what they did was he was eating people's lunches, and they said, "What are you going to do about it?" And he's like, "Okay, first off, we're going to take your name off your own game." And he's like, "Oh, big shocker! I don't give a fuck. People already know I make that.
People
game.
already know my name. It doesn't matter. Take my name off it."
So he's like, "I'm gonna
peanut butter and jelly, bitch.
ooh, fucking filet
Oh, I'm sorry. Was this your milk too, bitch?
Yeah.
Delicious.
Oh, whose filet mignon is this? Oh, no, this is actually my lunch.
Yeah.
That's actually mine."
My lunch.
He's over there with a hungry man, like cooking it in the microwave. Somebody walks up, they're like, "Hey, where's my? Did you and me get the same thing?" And he's like, "Yep." Just takes it out, starts eating it right in front of the guy, walks away. He has to go to HR, and he's like, "The boss keeps eating my lunch. I bring in Hungry Man's because I'm here for like 16 hours a day." And they're like,
Bring
"I
in
know."
Hungry Man's because I'm a man and I'm hungry.
They're like, "We're trying to figure it out. We've talked to him. He's somewhat unresponsive about the whole situation. We're working on it though.
Reminds me of that fucking
we even
meme.
took his name off of his game, so we're hoping that'll kind of settle him down."
And then he's like, "Oh, guys, it's not settling him down. It's not settling him down. In fact, the funniest thing about this whole scenario is that you think that they eat Hungry Man in Japan."
I mean, they might.
He imports his Hungry Man first off. He
Fuck,
loves
dude,
it. It's
fucking-
favorite food.
it's readily available for me, and I don't even eat that shit.
It's readily-
That's fair.
I mean, to be fair, all this still reminds me of that meme where a dude literally, he goes, "Somebody keeps eating my lunch. They're going to enjoy this here tasty sandwich today." And it's literally a piece of bread with a piece of bologna, a bunch of like spicy horseradish, and like ghost peppers. And then they like put the fucking top on the sandwich, just like, "Yeah, enjoy my lunch now, motherfucker."
But when you think about them kicking him off the metal, kicking him out of the company, they were like, finally, we got rid of him. Everybody's lunch was safe, and then everyone thought, we're good. We got rid of that motherfucker. And then they're like, "Hey, did you hear?" He's like, "What? That motherfucker just opened up his own company." And he's like, "God damn it!" It's like,
Stealing everyone's lunches now. And they can't do anything about it because it's part of the contract.
but then
No!
they're like, when he releases his first game, and they're like, "So how was his game?" And they're like, "Do you like walking simulators?" And they're like, "No, not really." And they're like, "Oh, then you won't like it." But then they're like, "But we just made Metal Gear Survive, and nobody even plays that."
Nobody
Did
plays
people-
that.
Did people play his game? Yes, sir. Unfortunately, lots of people played his game and then did not like it. But then a lot of people liked it, and then people that didn't like it started to like it,
Yeah.
and now everybody's excited for the second one. That will just be as walking simulator as ever.
It's walking. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, which
I'm
is why
also
I'm not fucking doing it.
I'm also told that if you stick with the story though long enough, you will understand it, and I'm told it ain't that bad. But you got to stick with it.
Yeah,
damn
I've
it.
heard that too.
So
Why did I stop to read the comments?
Which one?
Box. Now Jeff Keighley buys Kojima his Hungry Man meals.
that dude sucks his dick, don't he?
Yes, he does.
That dude-
Technically, he sucks everybody's dick.
Dude, but no, dude. There's a way he talks about Kojima. When he talks about other people, that's one thing. But when he talks about Kojima, he really talks about Kojima. Like he's like, that dude is riding the high on that dude's dick.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
That was a fun topic.
well, actually, it's interesting because we've had this set of questions that we were supposed to ask for a while, and we're only like 40 minutes into the episode, so we're right on schedule
it's
with
all
the
right.
way that we work.
People know about our ADD. It's all right.
Or not.
So, as the first actual episode of the year, all the way up in March,
You're welcome for me vamping.
Sorry, we went into hibernation for the winter.
oh man.
I know winter's not over with yet, but like close enough.
So, there are a series of questions here, and I'm sure we'll get more as we go, and we will be fielding them. They won't all be frickin' writer Sentai questions. In order to reintroduce the cast and get things moving and put the show back to what we want and get things moving back into a podcast video format where we could talk about a bunch of different things and just do what we want to do. Step one is to reevaluate where we are today, because it has changed. We've been doing this show for a long time, a couple days. And not just this show, but we've been here for a long time. Like, we're watching YouTubers that we started with, not that we ever got popular like that, but YouTubers that we started with are retiring.
Yep.
Like, so we've been here a minute.
Couple minutes. Like 4.
Right, like
Maybe
4.
5.
Yeah, like 14 minutes.
We're just unloved.
So, let's start this off.
All right,
Introduction, cast questions. The first one is a very simple question, but it does hold merit. Question 1, how old are you? That's simple. I'm 40. I just turned 40. So I am a sad 40-year-old man that talks fandom and collects toys. There we go.
But you don't live in your mom's basement.
But unlike other
You
sad
own a
men
house.
that collect toys, I own a house, have 2 rescue dogs, a wife, a car, bought all with my own money, work full time.
And a kid.
And
And
a
you
kid.
also bought with your money.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
birthing in a hospital is
Oh.
expensive.
that was a $17,000 bill for me. Oh, and
And
by
it's
the way,
all been racking up since.
no, that bill, I paid it.
Oh, you finally got it paid off?
Yeah, that's something they don't. The girl whom I had my kid with, I will not say her name on the podcast. She was technically released from work at the time, and so like a good portion of that bill hit us directly, and we like had to pay it. So it was rough. But yes, I break a lot of the stereotype because I have gone out of my way to do everything I'm technically supposed to do as an adult and never lost any of the things that made me a kid. 40.
Well, I mean, there have been times where you've lost some of it, but, flooding and jackass, roommates.
Look, when it rains in my house, I can't save the comic books.
Right.
And when jackass roommate steals multiple people's collections,
Multiple
out of
people's
Bill's
collections
house.
out of my house.
Yeah.
There are times that I still wish I punched him in the face, and that was nice. But
Yeah.
there are times that I wish that because I still haven't been able to replace some of the stuff that disappeared, and I didn't realize it was going away until it was way too late. I don't even remember exactly how I realized it. I started feeling like something was weird, and looking at the shelf and being like, I feel like I had that game. And then I remember we got that call. I got that call from
Egan.
Egan, saying his name. It's too vast. Nobody's gonna try. But regardless, I got that.
I mean, that could be a first name. That could be a middle name that
Right.
he goes by. That could be a last name.
But
it could
be a
be a
nickname.
she.
I got that call from him, and he was like, "Hey, Bill, do you own?" And he started naming off a couple of games, and I was like, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, I think I just bought your games." And I said, what the fuck did you just say to me?" And he's like, "Look, he's like, you live with," and then he said the dude's name, and I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "He just sold me all these games." I was like, "He doesn't have those games." And he's like, "Yeah, but you did." And that was
keyword
that was
there
it.
was did.
Yeah, they were gone. Keyword did. If somebody steals your shit, and this has happened twice now, if somebody steals your shit and sells it to GameStop, even if you can prove it, GameStop does not give you your stuff back.
Nope, you have to file a police report, and the police will get your stuff back, maybe.
Maybe. And that's
Yeah,
if they
maybe.
claim it. I reported an entire theft of nearly $2,000+ worth of merchandise, was able to locate the stuff, proved it was mine, even had some of the boxes and whatnot for said stuff, and they still came up there, took the stuff off the shelf, put it in the back room, and the cops were told they can claim it for evidence. The cops then went along their day, did nothing, and that stuff just got pieced out back into GameStop's inventory. So this has happened twice now, that my stuff has been stolen, sold to GameStop, I proved it was my stuff, and I could not get it back. So when your stuff is gone, your stuff is gone. And we're not going to do this again. But you know what would have been real nice?
Punching him in his other head?
No, if I'd have wised up years ago and taken every single one of my PlayStation 1 games that I currently had and just emulated them. Then I would still have them because they would be digital files on my computer. Oh, I love that. You don't know America at all. Sue them then, he says. I did. You know what I got? Court bills.
Yep.
And an obligation to appear in court every couple years to continue arguing. Until I finally told them, just keep it. I did it for 5 years. 5 of them. Every year I had to show up in court to go, hey, have you been given your stuff back or were you paid? And I would say, no. And then they would give them an advance. Because when you sue, you could try to sue GameStop, but GameStop is a business and was doing what it was supposed to do. And the cops did not claim your inventory. So that lawsuit then falls to the person whom stole your material, which I was able to track down and prove. They put the fines on that person, and that person was obligated to pay me for said inventory. Then, over the course of 5 years, I went to court once a year, and when I got in there, they said to that guy, hey, how come you haven't paid? Times are really tough, he would say. And they'd say, well, I'm going to give you an advance on this, but you really need to start making some payments. And then he would say, okay, and then we would go along our way. I did it for 5 years. On the 6th year, they sent me a notice and said I was obligated to show up in court again for the same shit. And I said, don't even worry about it. And they were like, if you don't show up, you void the case and it becomes his victory and then you're not going to get any money. And I was like, it's been 5 years. I ain't seen a fucking penny. What does it matter?
Yeah.
So I did not go.
I lost 5 years worth of fucking wages trying to get this fucking money back.
Yep.
At this point, fuck it.
I did not go. I never got paid. Nothing has ever come of it. And I will never see a dime of the inventory. And by the way, the inventory that was stolen from my house amounted to a little over $5,000. Because they stole systems, they stole games, they stole magazines, they stole amplifiers, they stole a guitar. It was about like when I price ranked it all with oneup.com and pricematcher.com and then sent all that to which he claims he was able to steal all this stuff alone. No, you didn't. Yeah. No, you didn't. There's no way. There was multiple people involved. They cleared my shit out. They took my amplifiers, my games, my movies, every system, every controller, all my multi-taps, and that was back during the stuff when we did Gamers United. So I had an inventory of nearly 1,000 games, and I had multiple PlayStation 2s. Multiple GameCubes, multiple Xboxes, multiple controllers, multiple game multi-taps. All of it gone.
Yep.
All of it gone. Yeah, they straight up stole my Hungry Man, and I never got it back.
and some of that Hungry Man was mine, damn it.
Some of that Hungry Man was his.
As I left for basic training, I said, Bill, hold on to my stuff. I know it's safe here. Plus, I know you'll play some of it. And I'm fine with that. Because I know you like these games. So they sat up on the shelf.
But it wasn't safe there.
Yep.
Nope.
There was a key reason why it turned out to not be safe there. And not to get too far into detail, but I was dating a girl at the time, and we had planned to go to Florida. And her sister knew we were going to Florida. And her reject piece of shit boyfriend husband knew because of that I would be gone for a couple of weeks in Florida. And there would be nobody to check the house.
Uh-huh.
So he broke out the back window the day I left. While I was on the plane, he broke out the window and just hollowed my shit out.
Yep.
Because they knew I wasn't coming back. They had all the time in the world to just do it.
Yep.
So I knew who it was, and that's part of the reason I was able to track a lot of the stuff down. But I watched GameStop piece out my collection, one thing at a time. And also A to Z. A to Z was the other guy that got a hold of a lot of my stuff, like my amplifiers, my microphones, my guitars.
Yeah, and with them being a pawn shop, clearly they're not going to give two fucks about, oh, this was stolen? Okay.
Like I said, it is fault of the police as well, because the police never claimed any of it. I proved it was there. I told them it was there. I got a police officer to come down and specifically look at the stuff, and then basically the cops told me that it's all toys. That's how they described it. The guitars, the amplifiers, the video games, the systems, they're toys. So they're not high on a priority list. They're looking for cars and shit. Now, I don't dispute that, but they never came back to claim any of the material. And because they didn't do that, all that material went away. All of it went away. And then at that point, after so long of the items not being claimed by the police or me, because I can't go back in there and just buy all my stuff, I don't have the money, that was it. That was it. They just pieced it back into their inventory and sold it. I watched somebody buy my Xbox.
Yep.
Yes. That is the ridiculous story of an old man yelling at a cloud, mad at the system that he never got his toys back.
Actually, are we going age rank for this, or we just...
No, I don't care.
All right, I guess I'll go next. I'm 36, but I'll be 37 in 2 months and a day.
Yep.
Fuck. I'm going to be 37, man. I feel like I'm in my 50s. My back's fucked, my arms are fucked, my knees are fucked, my legs are fucked.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my feet to get fucked.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, because that'll make my job infinitely better because, I primarily have to walk to do my job.
Nah.
To answer Jake real quick, no. The Xbox that Seth gave me, that still exists. That's the one that's currently hooked up in the garage right now.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking about the OG tank box that we had.
You don't need legs to work. I mean, Xavier's been doing it for a long time now and seems to get shit done.
Yeah,
but
but Xavier also... Yeah, he's got a future chair, and B, he doesn't locate underground utilities.
You don't age people well. Like, you think Nick looks like he's in his 50s, and you think I look like I'm in my 60s?
Shane looks 20.
Not that I'll fight, and then Shane looks like he's 20. Like,
dude, thank you.
I mean, sure. I think you're pretty bad at guessing people's ages.
Yeah, you wouldn't do well in my job at a gas station.
Here's the thing.
Now, I will say I've always looked older. I started graying easily like at 18. Like I was already getting white beard, like fucking salt and pepper when I was in friggin' high school. Like,
it was awesome too. The sad thing is, I remember when I was working at a factory when I was 19, and people were like, No, you're not 19. I'm like, how old do you fucking think I am? And I had a couple dudes like, well, you're in your like mid 30s. I had one or two guys go, you're like in your mid 40s, man. One guy's like, you're in your 50s. I'm like,
Holy shit!
here's my driver's license. And they're like, what the fuck happened to you? And it's like, I worked for export packaging.
I worked there too. I remember that place.
My eyes were sunken in, my hair was gray.
You worked overtime all the time. It was without a question.
Yep.
You were always on your feet, always moving, always lifting, always tired. It looked like ass in there. Like you would come. I used to come home at the end of the night from export packaging, and I used to get into the shower. And that first initial stepping into the shower, I used to take my hands at the back of my head and pull them forward, and just black, like literal, just black water would come off of my head.
Because of all the dust.
Yeah, it was so bad in that building. People talk about where I am now, and they say things like, this place is dirty. And I'm like, you don't even know what dirt looks like. Like,
No.
You don't even know what dirt looks like. It was
I remember
bad in there.
I remember your girlfriend at the time who has OCD would whine and bitch and piss and moan every single day. She'd be like, he's going and taking a fucking shower. And I'm like, isn't that a good thing? She goes, no, because that means I have to go in and clean out the fucking tub.
Yeah, because I'd leave the bottom of the shower like a darker color, like a grayish tint or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place was nasty, and it was gross. Like, I remember you would go to the bathroom and like wash your hands like before you ate lunch or whatever, and just like black soot would just come off of your hands, and you were wearing gloves.
Yep.
Like, it was so bad there.
It was so dusty and dirty that it permeated the gloves, pierced through, saturated your hands, and your pores were screaming.
You used to get those black lines under your fingernails that no matter what you did, you could not get rid of them.
Yep.
I always looked dirty. Like, that place was gross. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's like I still get that crap under my fingers because, you know, I had to dig for tracer wires on gas lines to be able to locate them. And sometimes I had to do it with my hands. I'll scrub my hands, still not get it all done. I come home, I do the dishes for like 30 minutes, just getting all of them knocked out. My fingernails are perfectly clean. When I worked at X-Pac and did the dishes, nope, they were still black. There was no getting that shit out. It was bad.
Bruce. Sam.
Yeah, go ahead, Shane. You're up next.
Well, obviously I'm 20, so I go last.
You're not 20.
Okay,
Nice
fine.
try, though.
Well, unlike my two friends here, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
I'm fine with looking like I'm 50.
I wish I was 20. My life was a little bit better back then. I don't really like to talk about myself. I'll just tell you about my age, and that's about it. I'm 35. And
Yeah,
I'll be,
Shane's a year younger
now.
than me.
I'm 35. I'll be 36 in July. There we go.
Had the day before my girlfriend's birthday.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Indeed. I was also
Since I need to stall for time, since Shane was quick.
You don't need to
Really?
stall for time, just fucking do it.
Really?
Yes,
Renato.
really.
No. Renato says Seth looks ... 30, I guess. And then Jake hits the fucking nail on the head and he goes, No, Seth is 35. Why? Because I do my own live streams on my channel, Sario says. Go follow me. Shameless plug. Because we're shameless and professional.
No, I'm right here. I'm right here. You're not shameless. I'm right here.
No, I said shameless.
I know. I was trying to be funny.
We've been Shane-less for the last 2 episodes, which is why I'm amazed there are even people here, because I know I'm about as entertaining as watching paint dry.
No, paint dry can actually be really awesome.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. I'm probably
you
about
you root for the blue color while the red color gets fucked on because somebody keeps squirting it with water.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But yes, so I am 35, just turned as such here in December, so Still have to go almost another full rotation around the sun until I age again. But, so that's how that one ends up going. However, if we really wanted to get into it, I believe, even though he's not here, our oldest member was Scott, who, if memory serves, I believe, wasn't the man isn't he like 43, 44, something like that?
Well, why don't we do the math real quick? He was born in 1979. And his birthday's August 1st, so don't add this year yet.
Right. So that would be... Hold on. 23 minus...
44.
Yep, 44. So I was
I was
close.
being quiet so Seth could do basic math, man.
Hey, I work third shift in a gas station that's technically a truck stop, which means I deal with a lot of crackheads, meth heads, and dumbass truckers who can't even fucking chew bubble gum and walk at the same time.
And?
It grates on the nerves. So my brain turns to mush from trying not to scream, "Get the fuck out, you dumb bastard," and get fired. Because I kind of need that job because, got a car payment and I'm going to have a house payment for my fucking trailer since I'm trailer trash now.
I too.
Bill, do you see the comment?
Yeah. What's up?
Scott?
Scott looks like Santa Claus, but Santa Claus after coming back from Nam with PTSD.
He actually does. He actually goes as Santa Claus to certain things. Actually, it's funny that's brought up because he knows that he looks like Santa Claus. He dresses as Santa Claus for events.
Yeah.
Yep. Christmas time, he'll go and dress up as old Saint Me.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for the day I can get my beard long enough and everything already just goes silver on its own. Because then I'll dress up as Santa.
And, yes, by the way, the reason I had to mute was because I was talking to Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes.
So
that's the reason why it is I said I need to stall.
So does that cover the first question? Do we have that?
Yeah, that's the ages of all four of us.
So, this next question is bizarre, but it's here. And since it was sent to me, we're gonna answer it. And there's different things here too. It says, "Who are your waifu?" I guess that's internet crush or whatever you want to call it, because I guess that term, whatever. I know the term, but I've never felt like I've identified with it necessarily.
Right.
But since it's here, we'll do what we can to answer it. First off, real life person is it what it wants to know. There's a couple of categories here. I don't have one.
Yeah, you do. You're married to her.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I've never been one of those guys that's like into celebrities, I guess is the best way I could put it. It's never appealed to me. I know there's an appeal to it. Like, people have those lists, like, hey, if you had that chance or whatever, you know what I'm talking about? Like, but I've never had that. I've never had the list. That's never been a thing for me. I just have zero interest in it. Most celebrities, and I think my problem is that I know that most celebrities are too fake. You never actually get to know them. You see the personality they present and the characters they play, and it's very seldom that we actually know them. And then by the time that we do, it's usually something fucking terrible. So it's not, I don't have one. I don't have a real one. I could tell you a couple people that I like in terms of, like real models. Two that I could name is like that, Akturoku. I like her, and I guess I also like, Sweetie Fox. There. That's as close as I can get to that. And that still is very, I don't know. That's very far and widespread, but that's as close as I can get to answering that question. And I just think they're cute. I don't even have any interest in meeting them or knowing them in any way whatsoever. And yes, this is what I was getting at when I said these questions are hard to answer, because clearly no one agrees what this term even means. Because the second the term was brought up, everybody started fighting about what the term is. This was never fully identified. It's like a fan term for chick that you're crushing hard on.
Right.
I got
no.
You got nothing? That's
I got
fine.
nothing either. When it comes down to it, like, I don't really stick to, like, specific people or characters.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing fucking Renato being like, oh yeah, I've seen the 18+ Discord channel. I know what Seth's about. No, you don't.
you have not even scratched the
I
molecules off the surface of the terabyte external he has.
I give
Not
you
to
guys
mention
the
the 14
basic
others.
level shit that I think everybody could look at and go, oh, she's kind of hot. Oh, that's a cool looking picture. Oh, well, damn, nice. But yeah, as somebody who spent enough time over the last couple of years figuring some shit out,
You know, when I was growing up, I thought RuPaul was a woman. I didn't know. Which is weird. I should have known. I should have been one of the first people in our group to have known, because I grew up in a household that had cross-dressers and like I grew up around it, like drag queens and things like that. So it shocks me that I didn't know, but I thought for sure that was like a famous woman when I was growing up. It did not know, had no clue at first. But I guess I never looked her up or nothing like that. So him, her, I don't know, whatever.
Well, to be fair, I believe Rue actually does identify as male.
Right. I think he's a drag queen, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he's still a drag queen, but like I said, I'm not sure if he moved into like a they them. Because
I don't know
drag
either.
queens do, but yeah.
So I'm
a lot of them want to be she's. Some of them are they thems because they're fluid enough. But
yeah, I'm not.
No, trust me, I can't think of their name right now, but I'm pretty sure there's a name that I could throw out. And if you just went to Google with safe search off...
he's calling you out. He's calling you out. Action Jackson is in the chat. What? Santa from Nam.
Uh-huh.
We got Colonel Claus up in the house.
Goddamn right. But yeah, no, like I said, I've spent some time, I've done some soul searching, and yeah, no, I'm not showing you the shit that I keep around for me. I'm showing you hey, this chick's pretty hot.
That's why I said you have not scratched the molecules off of the surface of the vast
the shit that appeals to me.
Shit, you should tell him to open up the PSP case.
No.
Yeah, open up
Don't
that
go anywhere
PSP
near
case,
that.
man. Got a PSP case that for years I kept personal items in. And we'll leave it at that before the channel gets burned to the ground.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
If you want more, tune in tomorrow morning at about 7 a.m. to Sario Says.
And Sario will say what was in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good possibility.
That or Bill could also tell you. Bill saw what was in there.
Few people did, yes.
I did not. I was told the horror story.
Yeah, no, that's why I said a few people. Not everybody.
So what, we done with that one?
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes. Because, yeah, everybody was like, meh.
Yeah, I don't have one. I don't know. I can't think of that. The other one says cartoon. Did you have a cartoon crush growing up?
I guess technically Sailor Mercury when I was growing up.
No, we talking
that's
cartoon?
Anime. To be fair, that's one of the things on here. So there, you just answered that one.
Oh well, cartoon wise, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
April O'Neil.
That might be fair. I mean, that was
she was hot.
That was that was around the time we were kids and everything, so that might be fair.
Like the 80s/90s Turtles. I mean, I do have a thing for redheads.
Jackson is done with this. He just simply said, "Coal for
Coal
everyone."
for everyone.
Coal
Hey,
for
I didn't
everyone.
fucking do nothing. But
He's
coal
sitting there
is
talking to the
expensive.
chat. Coal is expensive.
I will accept that
I will
because
accept some
Amaran's
coal.
going to be more expensive, so we're going to need that coal to heat
Oh
the
my
house
God,
water.
no
I mean, considering the
joke.
fact that I've got my own place, as soon as I can, have money in like 4 years, I'll probably get a grill so I can stockpile some coal and be able to save it up for steaks
Look.
and burgers.
Look, I'll tell you. You know what? That's fine. I could somewhat put one to cartoon right now.
No,
Tila.
Jessica Rabbit.
Tila.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Tila
go
for
for
you.
that. It's more of an adult thing at this point, but I didn't have one growing up. Not that I can remember. Like I remember I watched
Oh, I
Gargoyles or
remember
whatever.
mine.
I watched a lot of cartoons, but I don't remember like being into somebody like that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have that. It says anime. Anime, you already talked about that. If I had to make any guess as to when I was growing up, my primary anime was Dragon Ball Z. It was like between 18 and Videl. I liked them. And then I remember I got over it. I think that's the reason this has never been a thing that like worked with me, where people like pick one and they like them and they like stick with them, and that's like a thing. That's like their big thing, right? And they kind of obsess over them over the years or whatever. I never had that. I would like be interested and be like, she's cute or she's hot or I like her, and then I'd go on to the next show. And it never remember characters like sticking with me like that. It was never a thing. I don't know. And I've always felt weird about that because it almost seems like every other person I talk to, it seems to be a thing. And I'm like, is there some reason that it's not a thing for me? Like, do I just not, like, is there some reason that I don't stick with certain things or something like that? I don't know. And he says Pam Anderson, live action, X-Men cartoon, Rogue, Jessica Rabbit. Like
I didn't even think about Rogue.
I get that, and we knew about Rogue.
God,
Scott has said Rogue before, here on the show.
I said Rogue fucking 12 times over the course of like 6 episodes.
And no, strangely
I
enough,
would agree with Rogue though.
I viewed Bulma as like a friend when I watched Dragon Ball Z. I was never into her in any way, like ever.
Yeah, no, sadly when it comes down to anime, the only one that I can honestly think of would have been like when I was in grade school, like the first anime crush that I had was because fucking Tenchi Muyo was on the air.
Oh,
And for some dumbass reason, fucking I was like, man, Ryoko's fucking hot. And then after that, I was like,
remember
oh,
you
hey.
liking her. Now that you said that out loud, that like brought back memories. I do remember you liking her for a while.
Trust me, that's why I was like, fuck, because like a core memory fucking unlocked. I was like, oh god, no.
You actually unlocked something by saying Tenchi Muyo. You actually triggered something in my mind because I was thinking about it myself. I had a couple anime girls, but the girl from Tenchi in Tokyo. I can't remember her name, but the one that ended up being the shadow of the main bad guy. She wasn't like real or something, or the bad guy was going to grow up to be her eventually, something like that. But I had a thing for her. She was, and then Faye from Cowboy Bebop. I remember getting excited about the movie, and when he cuts her top.
I know exactly what you're talking about. They showed that in the preview like you were going to see something. You never actually see anything.
Dude, I thought that was just for the preview, and then when I watched the movie, I felt cheated.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I remember being the right age at the time, being like, "Are we going to see something?" No,
dude,
you do not see it.
I watched when he cut it. I watched both of them go that way,
and it's almost crazy to think that Faye was played off as the femme fatale, and we never saw anything.
That was the closest, really.
But it's funny because if you track it back, that's like a more modern, at that time, that was a more modern anime, and you would expect it almost to take a chance like that. You know what I'm talking about? But it didn't. But if you track back some older animes, almost like they had more balls. Like, how many times did you see Fujiko? Like, Fujiko was naked like 5 or 6 different times in Lupin. More than that, but just the ones that we got to see. And then, like, and then going back from that, like, even Sailor Mass, like, and things like that, and characters in Gundam and whatnot. So it became like a thing that you expected that was showing up, like the moving past the fan service into, like, I don't know what I'll call it, but it started to show up. Like, nudity in anime had started to appear in different things in, like, the 70s and 80s. And, like, yeah, even, like, some of the 90s stuff, like Chun-Li has the shower scene in the Street Fighter II movie. Somebody just mentioned that. So, like, it was almost like you started to see it in a lot of animes. So you almost expected it. And then I remember I'm watching Cowboy Bebop. And, like, it's the anime is blowing me away. It's easily one of my favorite things I've ever watched in my entire life. I can't get enough of it. Then they say, hey, movie. And they show the preview and they show that part. And I'm like, are they about to do that? Are we about to see, whoa. And yeah, like, Tenchi actually, I think, went as far as, like, when you actually buy, like, the DVDs and whatnot, I think Tenchi had nudity.
Yep, it did.
Yeah, it did.
So,
it did.
So it was in a time when you were seeing nudity appear in a lot of animes, and it's not in Cowboy Bebop, like, anywhere. Well, okay, that's not fair. There's a type of nudity that appears in Cowboy Bebop in the episode with the saxophone man.
Yeah.
But it's to emphasize the story point that's taking place.
That's a 2-part episode, and I believe it's called
Yes,
Jupiter Jazz.
Yes.
Yes.
And it had nothing to do with showing Yabos. It was literally to put that story forward and talk about how they were experimenting and how he took the drug and how it altered his physiologic, and things like that, and how he was going to use that as a disguise on the planet that he was on in order to get close to Vicious. So it was all storyline bound that they even showed it to you in the first place. So yeah, it wasn't like a cheap thrill like other animes were using at the time. You got to give it up to Cowboy Bebop for really never sacrificing its storyline. Storyline was first and foremost over things like fan service and things like that. And when they did sneak in fan service, it usually felt like it was there for a realistic reason. Like it belonged where it was being showcased. There was definitely some
fan service with that fucking cowboy show they always watch where that guy and that girl come up and her elbows are going.
Oh my god.
The Space Bounty Hunter show.
Right.
I can't remember the name of the fucking show. I wish I could.
I can't either. You know what? I'm going to try to see if I can look it up real quick.
But yeah, that was fan service because because you know that the only thing she was wearing was that tiny cowgirl jacket.
Oh my god! Can you believe this? I'm gonna get him in the show. I'm gonna get him in the show for the first time in a couple of years. Bam! Greg is literally in the show on the screen.
Big shot.
He says Tenchi was all about fan service, so I think a lot of people liked Ryoko. I remember it being pretty risque for the time, and it was the first time I ever saw something like that. And I get that. For a lot of us growing up in that time, it's kind of like the first hentai most of us discovered was like La Blue Girl. That was like a thing of our generation growing up. It was like the first one we knew. The first time we realized that was even a thing. Yeah, so like it's not it's just for the time. That's the reason Cowboy Bebop
I was either gonna say La Blue Girl or Bible Black and
Bible Black's
Bible Black that starts dipping further into the iceberg.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, but yeah, that's crazy to me. And then the last one that this person posted was game. Like, is there a game character you were into?
Tifa.
I hate everything.
What did you say?
Tifa, Aerith.
Oh.
Tifa and Aerith.
I mean, I guess because recently that's probably on your mind. So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
All right. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4-way tie, and they're all Final Fantasy.
I'm going to read this guy out loud, by the way, because he's right. And we were just talking about it, so I'm going to let this point finish before we move on. Cowboy Bebop is such an anomaly. It feels like a show made 100% to satisfy an artistic vision, like a story that exists beyond the genre and time of time conventions. I love when things are of their time, but Bebop feels like something that that has always existed. And he's right. It
feels timeless.
transcends. Yeah, it's so good. And anybody that has not been like in how do I put this? Anybody that has not checked out Cowboy Bebop, that has not watched, that has not seen the entirety of it, you missed out. And if you can put 100+ episodes into something and say it gets good around season 3, watch Cowboy Bebop. You have zero excuse not to watch a 26 episode anime. I'm including the movie in that because it takes place between 22 and 23.
Yeah, the movie is. There's only one movie too.
Yeah. And
the show is
you
fucking
owe it
great.
to yourself to watch the entirety of that show. You owe it to yourself.
You also need to watch the movie and then maybe explain to us how that dude didn't die. I don't need to explain the scene. You'll see the scene.
Yeah.
You just
And then you
talked
tell
about
me-
one yesterday.
And then
Shane.
you tell how he didn't die.
Shane, I can tell you how he didn't die. Are you ready?
Ready.
Don't view that plot hole.
Future
Moving
share.
on.
Dude, it literally exploded though. Like right there.
Now,
in his
to be
face.
fair, the other thing I would also tell you is if you feel like watching the Netflix show,
No.
why
I mean,
though?
there's
But
10
if you
episodes.
feel like it, you
and I-
definitely owe it to watch the anime first.
Yeah, watch the
Because-
anime.
Well, I was going to say, because my personal fan theory is the reason why the show moves the way that it does for the Netflix adaptation is because there's a big thing going on with everything on the moon within the actual anime of Cowboy Bebop. And I'm pretty sure that the Netflix adaptation is like an alternate reality where something different happened to the moon.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not willing to put the time in all honesty, but I get where you're coming from.
It would be a waste of time. There's only one season, 10 episodes, and then they ended it. So
Yeah, which kind of sucks because the ending, I was like, "Wait, what? They're going that direction with it? What the fuck?" But
Game wise,
too many people-
I'll say there
Yeah.
was a lot. There was a lot of people that
Yeah.
I had interest in. Yeah, I'll put Tifa on that list.
That's on mine.
You know who else? I'm gonna put?
I had
Not
Laura
mine.
I had Laura Croft even back when she had triangle boobies.
Shane. Shane, who belongs on that list? Shane.
Scarlet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Bill wants Scarlet on
Don't
that
roll
list.
your eyes at me. Don't roll your eyes, Shane. You know.
Second
Not-
drum in my head.
I'm honestly not impressed with Scarlet.
I have been giving you shit about Scarlet since
Remake
the
came out.
remake, and I have
Yeah.
not stopped, and I will not stop. I'm gonna use every chance I can to bring that up all the time, probably until we die now.
Probably.
Fuck Scarlet, okay, dude.
I
Tifa,
would.
Tifa and Aerith are best girls, especially
Okay.
Aerith, because you know she's a kind lady, and she doesn't need to go through what she's going to go through. Okay, she doesn't
Oh my
need
God.
to happen.
No,
I don't need
I
to see
get
it
you,
again.
yeah.
I don't need to see it again. I'm going to see it again. I don't need to see it again. I don't want
I'm
to see it again.
close. I'm close to seeing it again.
I don't want to see it again.
Cammy was a big thing for me when I was growing up. I remember.
I actually
Cammy.
I had a thing for Chun-Li actually.
I like Chun-Li, but Cammy is. I don't know why. Cammy like really appealed to me back then.
Bathing suit.
No,
What a-
no, no. Because if you want to talk about something like that, then I would go to Mai, because Mai was wearing as close to nothing as you could get away with at the time.
I mean, yeah.
And she had super jiggle physics
Yeah.
even back in the old
Even
days.
back in the old days.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
no,
I think
Cammy,
that was the
Cammy
original
was the,
jiggle
I
physics.
think Cammy was the first time that I like. How do I put this? I started appreciating skill and development. Like I'm being serious about that, because like when you saw her and she wore that, you could tell that like she was built. Like she was something that would have had to have forged in the fire of her own will, is the best way I can explain it. She had like defined muscles. She was no bullshit. Like she wore those hard gloves so that had those impact parts right here. And Chun-Li was more, how do I put this? She was more, I'm trying to think how to explain it. She was elegant. She had a martial art that would like
that's
kind
her-
of
that's her
move you and things like that, where Cammy would come straight at you. She was built like a brick house, and she was coming for your face. bow.
Well,
That was. She even had that punch where she'd put her leg all the way down the back, and then she'd pull her whole body into that punch, just like lifting into the air like this. So, I mean, she had hard, straightforward attacks, and she looked like she was literally built for combat. She looked like what a lot of the girls that currently are in the UFC look like, because if you're going to fight for a living, you're going to have a very specific type of body, because you are going to compete in hard physical activity. And I think that was the first time that really appealed to me, that I could see the actual determination over time and skill and craft that it would have taken to make Cammy what Cammy is.
Well, if you look at their martial arts, that tells you enough about them. The way that Chun-Li's martial arts is elegant, the way she moves and all that, and the way, like you said, the Cammy moves.
See, now they added muscles to Chun-Li later.
Yes.
Like in the artwork and things like that you see, she's not muscular, she's elegant build. And then it was later that as they've gone through the years, they started adding a bunch of muscles and things like that to her, because people do, then over time, the attitude has changed and people do value that look of, like, ability. You know what I'm getting at? Like that they look like they could do this. Yeah. And part of that does come down to, like, things like, one of the things that I liked and have always liked is Red Sonja. Red Sonja is one of those kickers. Like, yeah, she has the bombshell body, but if you're paying attention, most people draw her muscular. She actually has biceps. She usually has an actual defined abdomen and things like that, because if you're going to live that life in the barbarian age, you better be able to do it. You can't just look supermodel. You will die.
Right.
So that's the reason I think, like, with that stuff. But that's as far as I can go with this topic. Like, I've never necessarily, there's things that appeal to me, but strangely enough, for, like, logical reasons. And I guess that's weird. Maybe it's something in the way my brain works or something like that. Because I know, like, the basic principle of the thing is that girl is hot. That's the basic principle idea. Girl is hot. That's Scarlet. Girl is hot. But, like, no, I'm just saying, if you break that down, that's what people are looking at. But I've never done that. It's always been more of a character first thing that appeals to me. So I've never stuck with a character like that and had the waifu thing. It's never been a thing for me. The next question on this list is PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, or PC?
All but Xbox, because Xbox is PC now.
Well, do you want us to? Are you telling us which one we prefer? Because
I think that's what it's asking. Because that's all the question says. The PlayStation, it just says PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, or PC. And I think it's asking where we're primarily making our home or what we focus on.
Well, that could be kind of a loaded question, because, like, are we talking overall? But we could also be talking about, like, what generation as well. Like, in this generation, I liked Xbox. In this generation, I liked PlayStation. Or are we just talking overall? Because then are we talking about back then or now? Because people's views have changed.
So I can tell you this. The system that I put the most time into in my life, that's PlayStation 2. That's where I had my hardest gaming era of my life. It's when I would literally wake up at 7 a.m., turn on the PlayStation 2, play it till I couldn't play it anymore, go to sleep. That was my hardest dive into games, PlayStation 2. But
that was the same for me.
If we're talking about modern, right now, the systems that I value the most
is your PC and your Switch.
Yes, because the PC, I'm always up here working. I'm always working. I'm editing. I'm doing things. I'm working on the book. I'm finishing stuff off. I'm watching music videos. I'm editing my own music videos. I'm doing things. And because I'm doing things up here all the time, it's more easy to just turn the PC on, click Steam, pick a game, and break an hour. Like, it's just simple for me. It works for my lifestyle currently. It actually takes more effort to go downstairs, take a disc, put it in, change the TV, take up the TV, by the way. So if I'm playing a game, nobody else can watch the TV or do anything in the house. So that seems like an asshole thing for me right now, because like I gotta think about, like, Gwen sometimes wants to use the TV. She wants to play Switch downstairs or whatnot, so I let her. And if the TV's taken, that puts me at the computer. The other thing that appeals to me, the thing that makes the most sense to me currently, is the Switch. I could take it with me. It's both digital and physical. I've invested in both sides on the Switch. I have things that I've purposely bought digital purposely, because I'm not willing to go out and look for the game, and I probably don't care in the long run whether or not I'll ever play it a second time. And even if I do, like, I bought Marvel vs. Capcom 3 digitally because I didn't want to go look for it. I woke up.
Is it because of What's Up 2, where you had to go and try to find you a copy of Tales of Symphonia?
Sure.
And you ended up at Best Buy,
but like,
and the man handed you Tales of Exalia.
Thanks for your failure.
By the way, that's another opener that could come down the line.
But yeah, that's where my life currently stands. The thing that makes the most sense to me is that, and like, I bring my Switch up here. Sometimes if they're playing downstairs, or I'm like doing something where I'm editing, I'm rendering something, and the render's going to take like 25 minutes or whatever, I bring the Switch up here and I play Star Ocean or something. Like, it just makes sense. I could play it on the TV. I could take it with me. I can sometimes, like, if we're going to Buffalo Wild Wings or whatnot, I'll take it with me, and me and Gwen will play it instead of that stupid tablet thing. We'll put it at the edge of the table and play the games while we're waiting for our food. Like, it fits my lifestyle. So for me, it's PC, it's Switch, and that's it. That's really where I spend all of my gaming time right now. Unless I have the friends over and I can make it out to the garage and it's nice, then I can waste an entire day playing retros all day.
Yeah.
Which we do sometimes. I mean, me and Bill started playing Front Mission 3 on the PS1. We still got to finish that.
I still got to buy Front Mission 2 and 1 for the Switch, because I want to go through those remakes.
Yeah,
and
me
they
too.
need to hurry their asses up, because I need Part 3 on the Switch, damn it.
Right.
So
we don't have to freeze our nuts off in the fucking garage.
So for me, I played the PS2 era, was the one just like Bill.
I think that was all four of us.
Um,
Oh yeah, Seth was more Xbox.
Nope.
No, I want to say
my
it's
issue.
GameCube.
Was it?
Well, that's what I was about to say. Here's my issue. Growing up at 2 years old, my dad plopped my ass in front of our 30-inch CRT TV and put an NES controller in my hand and said, "Here you go, kiddo. Here's Ninja Turtles. Here's Super Mario Brothers 3. Here's fucking other random fucking NES games. You play those." Then, after time went by, like 2-3 years, I sat down at my house and I played me Sonic and Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Sonic
Sega.
and Knuckles, and fucking I became a Genesis fucking kid. And then when I went to my dad's house, because mom and dad got divorced, I had a Super Nintendo, so I could play me some Super Nintendo. And then after a while, then at dad's house, we got an N64, so I played the fuck out of some N64. Then, fucking, they ended up getting a GameCube, because the GameCube came out. So I went out of my way, and the first system I ever bought was a fucking GameCube. And I played the fuck out of the GameCube. Until later on, when I finally got my first
That's an interesting question to
fucking
follow
job.
this with. I have a follow-up, because you just brought something up that I have to ask.
No,
Go ahead.
yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so with the first system I bought was a fucking GameCube, and I played the fuck out of it. And then, especially because we could trade games back and forth between dad's house and our house kind of thing. Then, later on, when I got my first job and had spending money, I went out of my way to go back and get an original Xbox, then a 360. Then I think I played the 360 until it red ringed twice. I fixed it both times and then said, "This PS4 is out, let me get up a PS4." So I played the shit out of some PS4 until I said, "Oh, hey, Nintendo Switch. Fuck yeah, let's do that." Oh, and I had a Wii in there, but to be fair, that was the family's console, so it wasn't just mine. It was like mine and my brother's and my sister's and my mom's, but meh. But yeah, then I got the PS4 and I played that until got a Switch, and I've been playing on my PC for anybody who wants to follow my live streams, because this is the 5th shameless plug.
Oh, shameless
Sario
plug!
says,
Did you feel the shamelessness of that plug? Did you feel it?
It's only the 5th fucking one.
I know. Jake does have a question. Is it better to have a Nintendo Switch gift card or buy a game from the store? I don't know. If your nephew is really hard on physical media, you need to buy a physical game because that's the way people are. But if you get him the gift card and he doesn't mind, if he's okay with digital media, always gift card, because he can just get anything he wants. And let's be honest about it. We like to act like all these games are like super important to us and that they have to be on the shelf and that we have to play them.
Yep.
The ones that you hung on to are important. The ones that you actually go back and play are important. But let's be honest about something right now. When you had, and this is just a rough thing because it's relevant to what's going on right now. You had Persona 3. You had Persona 3 for the PSP. You had Persona 3 again, FES, for the PlayStation 2. You had a Persona 3 that you could download, remastered on the Switch and everything else and on the PC. And now there's a new Persona 3 remake. And guess what? How often did you go back to these four? Or did you just go play that remake? The truth of the matter is, as backwards as we want to feel sometimes, the forward event of the way things run is the reason the industry has moved the way it does. You love the idea that there's a remake. People are playing Final Fantasy. Why are they not just putting in Final Fantasy VII? Because there's a new shiny remake. Let me tell you something. Let me ask you a real question. Who here went back and played Final Fantasy VII from start to finish before putting in remake?
I did.
Okay.
And the only reason being is because I never played it when it originally came out. So
you didn't go back to it. You experienced it.
Right. Yeah, I experienced it for the first time and then played it. So technically half and half for me.
So most people, and this is true for most people, they love and have a nostalgia attached to the past of games, but they don't often actually go back and play them. They just get mad when the option is taken away. And not that that isn't valid, but most people, the reason that the market has went mainly digital, because the sales numbers prove it, the market has went mainly digital is because most people will just play the game that's presented to them and then forget about it and move on and play the next game. That's the way most people game.
Yep. Now, with that being said, don't get me wrong. Before Super Mario RPG remake came out, I would go back and try to play that game every couple of years whenever it would pop in my head and be like, God, I want to fucking play that game. Because that game is a good fucking game.
It's a good fucking game. I mean, it was. It definitely was a good game.
I mean, it still technically is. I mean, the remake, I mean, all it really did is it gave you the original, and then after you beat Smithy, it lets you go back and do extra bosses that they've added in. And those are fucking difficult as all fuck.
Oh yeah, that was something I never did go do. I never did go beat all the optional bosses. I should go do that at some point.
Okay, this is interesting. When you guys buy consoles, do you buy original launch models, redesigns, or special editions, limited editions, unique colors? What about bundles? Most of the time, if I'm going to invest in a system, I buy it when it comes out, so it's just original models. And I usually have a pretty good idea about whether or not I give a shit enough to jump into a new console generation beforehand. Like this PlayStation 5 era, when PlayStation 5 was announced, I looked at it and went, okay. And then I looked at some of the games and went, I'll keep playing my PC. And that's not a dive. That's not a master race thing. That's just the way I felt. I didn't feel like there was a significant jump. They kept advertising like there was. Look, it's going to be so much better. And then I started realizing that the games I was playing on the PC were looking better than the games I was currently playing on my TV. And then a couple people bought a PlayStation 5, and I got to see some of the games and went, I'll wait. And they still never made a significant jump from 4 to 5 that made me feel like I cared enough to invest into the future. So because even like the new Final Fantasy that a lot of people are playing, that's not a dive. I'm saying I can wait for it to hit PC and I feel like I won't miss out on anything. I feel like I'll do just fine. Most of us, even with 4K TVs, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox and whatnot are not actually doing native 4K gaming. They're not strong enough for it. They like to claim it, but they're not. So most of the same visuals, if not better visuals, I'm just going to get on my PC anyway. So it hasn't been a thing. Usually I buy first edition launch consoles, I get into the generation, and then I move from there. I don't normally wait and buy like special edition bundles and things like that.
I don't wait for special editions, but because of the 360, I wait for at least the second or third restock. Because by then they go, oh, fuck, there's heating issues. Oh, fuck, we need to tweak this design a little bit on the innards. So that way you don't get Red Ring of Death. Or in the PS3 instance, because the old original models, they had the yellow blinking light of death. I got tired of that bullshit. So the PS5's been out for how long, Shane?
Not even 4 years.
There you go.
4 years
It's
already entered the end of its lifespan.
Even now bought it.
Yeah, even Sony has already remarked that it's entered the end of its lifespan.
But it's all right because it's basically the PlayStation 4.5. And my PS4 was dying.
We actually just had a person say, BoxBox specifically said, most of the value of the PS5 is for people like me who skipped over the PS4 because it really is the best way to play PS4 games. So I guess like the scaling and things like that, which is cool. It's cool to think that you could play the games that are currently in your library, especially if you were like a PS4 fan, that you could play them better. That's some of the appeal. That's one of the appeals that people often move to PC is they're like, well, I want to play the game that I've already played, but I want to play it better. I want to play it with like better visuals and things like that. So we know that tactic sells, and that's the reason backwards compatibility with like upscales and things like that would be massive selling points. Can you imagine if the PlayStation 6 said plays all games with upscaling? All games with upscaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go play PlayStation. It would be the biggest selling console ever released. I know that. There's no doubt. To give you ultimate access to every single thing PlayStation has ever done, guaranteed from day one, full backwards compatibility, it would sell off the shelves. You couldn't find a PS6. And not because inventories were fucked up, because you can't get one.
Or because everyone and their brother and scamming them on eBay.
Right.
For me, for that question, yes to all the above. What about you, Seth?
So like I said before, the very first system that I ever bought was a GameCube, and the reason why I was able to buy it is because I had graduated from 8th grade. I got a bunch of fucking money for a graduation present from my grandma, and I literally went down to, I can't remember if it was like Target or Kmart or what the fuck, or even Sears. But I went to the fucking store and they had a deal going where it was like, buy a GameCube and a controller and you get 2 games for free. So it was like a bundle deal kind of thing. And the GameCube already had it set up where it was like, you've got the normal purple one, there's a black one, there's an orange one, and then there's a silver one. I grabbed the silver one, and there was 2 games that was sitting out just on the display rack, and I said, taking these guaranteed. The first game ended up being Metroid Prime. It was either Metroid Prime or Smash Brothers, I don't remember. But either way, it was like fucking, I want to say it was Metroid Prime. And the other one is one of my all-time favorite games, and it pisses me off that they have not done anything with the fucking game since. Oh, fuck.
Hello Kitty's
Skies-
Island Adventure.
Nope. Skies
of Arcadia.
of Arcadia. And the GameCube version... Yeah, I know, your phone holder. But yes, no, the GameCube version of Skies of Arcadia was essentially a complete version, like a completed port of the Dreamcast version, because the Dreamcast version actually had DLC back when that was first starting for extra missions and extra shit to do.
So,
and I fucking love that game.
So Box, I'm gonna say something to your thing though. Also, I feel like ultimately backwards compatibility muddies how many games are in a library. A lot of early PS4 games were releases of PS3 games, but they helped to bolster the numbers. That's the problem. That's the problem that the industry sells to you is, hey, it won't play PS3 games or whatever. But
we can
port them.
redo it.
And so then, yeah, they get to bolster their numbers. Oh, and that Deadpool was a gift, so I don't like Deadpool in that way.
I do.
Deadpool, and see, that's people take my stuff out of context so fucking often. There is no black and white. I cannot give a shit about Deadpool as a comic book character and still like his movies and enjoy him when he shows up in other media. One of my moments that made me laugh in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was the DLC moment. Deadpool loves Cable. I laughed my ass off when almost every time he was on screen because I enjoy him, but I don't like him in a way that would make me run out and invest in him. It's not black and white. But yeah, the problem with things like the fact that if they offered full backwards compatibility all through emulation, so you have to own the PlayStation 1 game, and there's an emulator on the PlayStation 6 that plays PlayStation 1 games. Right there, yes, it's true. Certain PlayStation 2 games that were then remade and put onto the PlayStation 3, maybe you want to play that one. You still have that option. It didn't take anything away, but it would expose the fact that the industry built 2 generations on remakes and reboots instead of making the next game in the line. It would expose some of that crap and make it less relevant when you could just play The Last of Us on new hardware that would upscale The Last of Us instead of them releasing The Last of Us again, upscaled, twice.
Yeah, they did it for PS4 and PS5.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, it was an original PS3 game.
It came out on PS3. They redid it for PS4 with an upscale, and then redid it for PS5 with an upscale. Like, they sold that game to you 3 times. I'm just saying, it would expose that crap in the industry and cut that line.
Yeah, I still remember there was an episode that we did years ago where we were talking, and I think it was right around the time that the PS4 came out, and you literally turned to Shane and you go, "So Shane, did you buy that new Tomb Raider?"
Oh yeah, her hair was better. Yeah, I remember that argument. Dude, you haven't seen her hair.
Yeah.
Breathtaking. But to go back to your PS6 argument, Bill, that's a pipe dream. As much as I would like for that to happen.
It's absolutely. Well, there is one thing that might not make it a pipe dream. One thing. One thing that's creeping up in the future. One. It is a logistical nightmare, and they will fight when this starts, but we're at the very beginning of it, and Microsoft already put its foot down. They already said, we're doing this.
Yep.
The games as a service is coming. Streaming games and things of that nature. If PlayStation wanted to lay the gauntlet down and give themselves something to fight back with, PlayStation Stream, you can call it whatever you want, I don't care. They'll find a good name for it. PlayStation Stream, offering games of PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, all on a single system. A constant rotation of like 500 plus games that circle in and out 100 titles every month for random things or whatever, people would play that shit.
To be fair, they already technically did something like that back on the PS4.
Now.
Yeah, but I don't. It's not
But
on
it
the
was
level.
garbage.
It's not on the level yet. They need a system that would compete with Microsoft, and the Game Pass is the future. The Game Pass has proven itself to work. The next step is for the other companies to copy it and go full in with it.
Which is what PlayStation tried to do with their PlayStation Extra and Premium thing now. Because you had to have Premium to even play the PS1 games or to stream the PS3 games. But if you have Extra, then you could play all the PS4 games that come out and obviously PS5 games and stuff like that. But that's their version of Game Pass. And if you have to pick which one's better, obviously it's Game Pass. By leaps and bounds,
because
in
it's
my
not
opinion.
PlayStation nickel and diming your ass.
I would love to see them name it that, by the way. The PlayStation Now.
PlayStation Now 2.
2.
Yeah.
Dude, this isn't Xbox, okay?
Nope, I want that. I want the PlayStation Now ... 2. I'd buy it. I'd get a subscription at least for a month just on that name alone.
You know what? For the first few ones that they for the first when they first send it out, for the first month, it should just be called PlayStation Now ... 2 with question mark to see if people want it.
Right.
And then of course when people want it, they remove the question mark.
So if we ran this topic,
I mean,
I believe so, yeah.
because this one is, I don't even know. Hold on.
Oh,
I don't know. I was still waiting for that follow-up that you were going to ask me fucking 6 questions ago.
What was the very first system that you bought with your own money? 100%, no help. You bought it. You had to go get it. You had to spend your money. It was your system.
Xbox original.
Yeah, I've already answered that one.
Mine was PlayStation 2.
I bought a PS2 later, but Halo was just coming out. And my first paycheck from my job at McDonald's went straight to go and buying the old OG tank box. And then that tank box actually ended up getting modded sometime between Halo 2 and Halo 3 coming out.
Mine for what with my own money?
Yeah, your own money. No help. No Christmas money. No birthday cards. You had to have a job, get a paycheck, get the money, go buy a system. 100% your choice investment.
Probably the Odyssey.
Well, shit. Because now if you're saying no Christmas money or anything like that...
No, you had to go out of your way and sacrifice your bills.
Well,
I think that would have been the 360.
Oh goodness, I didn't get the reaction I wanted. No, I didn't go buy no fucking Odyssey.
Mine was PlayStation 2.
Mine was GameCube.
I mowed lawns and I worked at Walmart, and then I used my discount to buy a PlayStation 2.
I got my PS2 for getting good grades in school because I was struggling, and my parents were like, "How do we get our kid to be smarter? We bribe them."
That might have been why I played the PlayStation 2 as much as I did. Because it was like I invested in it. Everything I bought was from my personal money.
Well, that's a good idea. I played the GameCube a lot since it was like the first console I bought with my own money. But I was so stuck on the PS2 because I've always been a fan of Sony, regardless of business, their business practices and stuff. It's hard to break that because I've been playing PlayStation since PS1. I've played every PlayStation thing they've had. Even the fucking PSP Go I had.
Yeah.
So
you didn't have a PSP Go, Shane.
PSP went.
No, you didn't have a PSP Go.
I mean,
you had a Nintendo and a Sega and a Super Nintendo.
Now.
So
now it's that, but no. Now PlayStation's been I've been playing PlayStation a long time.
So this one's really top. Okay, what is your favorite superhero TV show?
That's a good one.
Now here's the question: is it actual live action or is
No,
it
it's
cartoon?
TV show. It says TV show, so I'm assuming
Ooh.
that allows cartoons. Because I don't see
'Cause,
cartoons here, so I guess that allows cartoons. And
Well,
if that's
technically,
the question, I have one answer, and both parts of it, I count them as one series: Justice League.
Fair.
I don't think it's been outdone yet.
That's a tough one for me. That's a toughie.
It was the first show that I watched that I knew it was for kids, but it was for adults. Like they didn't dumb down their
Right.
stories. They played off every character had meaning. There was a significance. It introduced many different characters and many different levels, opened up the entire universe to you, and never once lost that sharpness. Like Justice League feels good from the very first episode to the very last episode. Like, even if there are storylines you don't necessarily resonate with, its quality does not dip. They did it until they noticed that they were running out of ideas, and then instead of dragging it out, they were like, okay, the show's done. Let's do this flash, punchy, smart Luther McBrain man and be done with it. And they did. And because they ended it when they needed to, because I may have said the 2013 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the reason I didn't is because they didn't end it at the death of the Shredder, where it was meant to end. They decided to add an entire extra season of Tales of TMNT, and yes, it counts. If they're going to tag it on to the same universe, it's the same series,
Right.
and those are garbage. They're just money grabs.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, superhero-wise, that's a toughie. Because
Yeah, 'cause-
I would say The Flash, but that's the obvious answer for me. But The Flash kind of stopped being my favorite show when it stopped being good.
I cannot with the live action superheroes. Because I thought that for a second too. Like, what about one of the live action ones? And then it hit me. I can't see myself going back to watch them all again.
No,
Like it would be hard to go back and watch all of the Flash again.
For a long time. I kept up with all of them because you had to watch all of them because they all had crossovers with each other, and it got big. It got big. The WB's Arrowverse got real big, and with a CW, not WB, CW.
It's all the same thing, technically.
Technically.
Because even though it was on the Shirtless Boy network, it's still owned by Warner Brothers.
Correct. But so.
Oh, damn it. I just remember that. Sorry.
Well, I look
They're
at
supposed to be a Babylon, and I'm like, fuck.
So I look at that. I would probably, if I want to go for superhero show, it's still technically considered, even though he never wore the costume. The one that really started it all for me would probably be Smallville.
I was wondering if that was coming. Here's a question. Can you go back and watch the whole thing again?
No.
I don't need reasons. I'm just legit curious because I've seen it.
If people keep up with what goes on in the world,
I know.
Most people probably should know why I can't go back.
The thing that gets me is that I've seen it and I've thought about buying it multiple times.
It's difficult to do. I own it. I have it all right here behind me.
I can't help but wonder if my understanding of real life events would affect how I feel about the story that's being put down and make me go, I don't want her to win. So now I lose that part of my caring of will they, won't they, and half the series is dead.
The show, I mean, it would work if she wasn't in the show for so long.
And no Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey was fucking terrible.
I too have that on this shelf over here.
I sold that piece of garbage.
Well, I think I have yours.
Oh, did I give you mine?
Yes,
I thought I got rid. I knew I got rid of it.
Yeah, so I have Bill's over here behind you that I never watched.
Awful.
There's a reason why it only went 13 episodes.
Yeah, that show is awful.
But No, Smallville I can't go back to, just like I can't really go back to that 70s show for obvious reasons.
I'm fighting with myself about that. I used to, every 2 years, I used to go through the entirety of that, and I'm fighting with myself as to whether or not I'll go back through it. Here's the thing. There are certain shows that don't get hurt by it. There are certain shows that don't get hurt by it. Like when something happens actor-wise and you know about it and then it doesn't really affect it and you're still watching it and you're like, okay. But then there's other times when I realize what's going on and I can't help but see the background in what I'm watching, and it hurts me. It takes me out of what I'm watching.
I can't go back to Smallville, even though that character was not my favorite character. I still can't go back. Now, that 70s show, I especially can't go back to because that certain character was my favorite character. And now it ruins my whole perception of him because I believe that shit was going down during that show, too.
You haven't actually... Oh.
So that's
I have no clue what you're talking about on that.
He's talking about Danny Masterson.
The guy who played Hyde. He went to prison for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
To be fair, almost everybody that was in that 70s show was some type of awful on a different level.
Except for one.
Oh, Jesus.
The one that nobody likes is the one guy that didn't want to be friends with anybody, and the one guy that kept himself distant from the cast, and the one guy who is not in the media for being a piece of shit.
Yep. Meanwhile, the one guy who's on a show that I love, I can slightly look past it, and only because it was him being an asshole. Even though it's a creepy kind of an asshole, I could still fucking look past it just because I go, this is the character, this is the person. The person's a dick, the character, it's fine, whatever.
Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it doesn't affect me. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing that sucks about that, too. When one character bleeds out a show, right? When one character bleeds out a show, and you're like, I can't watch the show because of this one guy. What sucks about that is that, because we're gonna play a slight ethics game, very slight, little bit of a hard question here.
Okay.
Do you turn down on that show and not watch it because you know about the one character that the one guy whom was a character that did some shitty shit, and your moral value tells you, I don't want to support that shit anymore? Okay, all right. You feel morally justified, correct? You're morally justified for not watching Smallville because of the situation that was taking place, right?
Never really thought about it, but I guess so.
Okay. So let me put this one to you. What about all the guys that did lights, cameras, directors, credits, writing, the literal 400 other actors? What about all of them that get a slight paycheck when you stream it, when you buy it, when you watch it? What about all of them that you screw for your ethical, moral superiority?
Damn, dude, way to put me on the moral fucking.
No, it's tough. I'm not saying I'm not
Welcome
calling
to the
anybody
moral
out.
low ground, man.
It's not. It's very complicated because shows like this, like I said, they have a lot of hands in them. A lot of hands. Shows don't happen. We had this argument at the beginning when somebody was like, "Oh well, you know,
Kojima.
Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, they lost their creator, but they're still going strong and yada yada." That's because there's 1,000 hands grabbing and pulling that property. It is the collaboration of hundreds of writers that made it happen in the first place. So, in the same context, a show like what we just mentioned, if one actor was garbage and caused some shit, and you kill off the show and say, I will never stream that shit again, you now also cut off the what's it called? when people get paid for something that's played again.
Yeah, the residuals.
Yeah, you also cut off the residuals to all the other people that might literally be living off them because they put their ass on the line and did a show.
Yeah, it's kind of like all the shit that's going on with Marvel right now, where they got that one dude to be fucking Kang the Conqueror, and then they found out, no, that dude's a piece of shit. And now Marvel's fucking scrambling to find somebody else to be like, oh yeah, that guy was never a piece of shit. Fucking, we'll just, we're gonna get rid of him and put in whoever new actor that we put in. We'll just digitally AI his face over everything, because, yeah, we're not about to fuck over everybody else.
And then there's also the thing, look, we just talked about all those residuals, but then does it also come back on you that, like, the whole situation that happened with Seinfeld, the guy Kramer, and he caused this big uproar and everything, and then all that stuff happened. When you buy a Seinfeld DVD, or you stream it, or you watch it, you pay that guy residuals.
Right.
Yep.
But you also pay everybody else residuals.
All right.
No,
I got to bug out, guys, so
Yeah.
I will catch you later.
Later on. So it is a complicated issue. It doesn't have an easy answer.
Probably. I don't have much long. I might have to take off too.
Well,
so.
we're actually at our
we're
time,
at
so
time.
we'll be picking up these questions on the next episode. The next episode will continue the superhero question because there's like 7 of these, and then there's like 4 or 5 other questions. And as questions get added to this list, I will keep adding them for us to continue talking and doing our stuff. But we are coming up on the end of the episode. And, yeah.
Well,
So yeah, we'll see you guys again in a couple weeks, hopefully.
Well, I was gonna say real quick bit of housekeeping before we do go bye though. To anybody who actually did listen to the D&D episode, I think we've only had like 2 comments on it, being like, "Oh, this is great," or "Oh, this is shit," kind of thing.
I think one person said that they really enjoyed it and they'd like to see another, and I didn't see a second comment on it. I haven't gone to check it.
Oh, okay, fair.
There may have been a comment that said, "Hey, I don't like this." I haven't been on the channel. I've been on the channel to edit, not to actually look over the comment fields.
Right. But yeah, so I would definitely say, like, let us know at some point whether everybody enjoys it, or if that's just like that one dude liked it. Because the reason why I'm thinking it was a couple of comments is because you replied to the guy and he replied back.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, definitely let us know on that one, because that one was kind of an experiment. And if it's something where you guys are like, do it every 2-3 months, whatever, then yeah, we may keep that one going.
And
that was definitely fun.
If not, we will probably just find our own monthly thing to play out in private, because we're trying to like hang out and play together and whatnot. So like,
right.
So if we do it on the channel, we do it on the channel. If it doesn't belong here, if it's content that doesn't belong here, if this is a fandom talk show and it should stay a fandom talk show, then that's what we do, and we just kind of make time to do that on our own time. And that would be fine too. But yeah, a lot of this show, while we get things back on track and we figure out what we're doing, this is it. It is a fandom talk show for right now. We're hanging out, we're talking fandom, we're dropping topics, we're answering questions, we're fielding responses from the chat, and we're just talking about gaming memories, comic memories, superhero memories, movie memories, fandom stuff. And then we'll figure it out as we go, because we got to get ourselves back in the right mindset to keep this going.
We're talking about memories of that time that Shane opened up my PSP case.
I never opened it.
That Bill opened my PSP case thinking that there'd be a PSP in there.
I sure did open that thing thinking there was one of my favorite systems of all time. It was not the system I expected to find.
Nope.
Like,
You can definitely play with it, though. I'll give you that.
No, I could not.
You couldn't. I'm just saying it could be played with.
yeah. But with that being said, guys, we will see you in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, like Bill said, hopefully things are a little bit easier, especially for my mindset right now with what I've been going through. So hopefully I have better news and stuff the next time we do this. But with that all being said, I'm gonna go ahead and say my byes and peace out. So